Welcome back to Sneaker Impact News. I'm your host, Bryan the Botanist, and today I have a very special guest, Ricky Hughes from the STL Run Crew. Ricky, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? What's up, Brian? I appreciate you. Third time's a charm. We are here and then we're live and let's go. I'm excited, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. So, guys, Ricky Hughes is a man on a mission to energize and inspire the city of St. Louis to move and connect. A community leader at heart, Ricky founded STL Run Crew with a vision to create a space that would be welcoming to everyone. Running was initially a mental health tool that Ricky discovered during the pandemic in order to empower through depression. At that time, he had no idea what a run crew was, but he soon discovered diverse run crews around the country and was inspired to create one in his hometown of St. Louis, a crew that would move all over St. Louis, activating community, businesses, and health, a crew that was diverse in every sense of the word, a crew that was built around movement and connection, a crew that is now STL Run Crew.
Mm.
Again, welcome, Ricky. How are you feeling today, man?
I am feeling great, Brian. I appreciate you. It's going to be a great conversation. I'm feeling very zen today, very present. I'm busy as hell, but otherwise, I'm feeling good.
That's awesome. We love the high energy. And that's what I noticed when I met you in St. Louis a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So tell us, who is Ricky from St. Louis? Where were you born and raised, and how has that influenced your life and identity?
Yes, Ricky from St. Louis, no pun intended. And
Yeah.
quick backstory on how I got that name. I went to New York Marathon in November, and the running space of social media it's hard to describe in words. I've met men and women off social media that are like my true friends in real life. And I went to New York, and actually my homie Jared, he's from DC, he works for A6, and he was just introducing me to everybody saying, "Hey, this is Ricky from St. Louis. This is Ricky from St. Louis." So I almost felt like I was wearing the city on my back. And I changed my name on IG like that next day.
That's
That's how it
awesome.
happened. I felt like I was like champion our city, and I wanted to like wear that. So yeah, I've only been Ricky from St. Louis since November of 2023, but I'm from St. Louis. I love St. Louis. I've been a community builder for 10 plus years. I've been navigating like from music to media to I did a little podcast. I into the arts, and like I just been finding my way, just essentially letting God just allow me to use my gifts and creativity and community building in different ways. Yeah, so that's who I am, and now found running, or running has found me, and it has changed my life in all the best ways. It has taken over. It has taken over my life in all the best ways,
Yep.
and
It's an addiction. It's a
it is.
positive
It's a positive
health
addiction
illness.
for sure. Yep.
We're ill with love and with passion and with excitement and health.
Y- Indeed.
So
Indeed.
tell us about your family growing up. Did you have any brothers and sisters? What were you like as a kid?
Yeah, I have one younger sister, Leslie. We grew up super close. One of my best friends. She called me her best friend, so I'm her best friend. I grew up playing sports. I played basketball, football, track. I was super just into athletics. I actually played football in college. I was small, but I was like super fast, but like just like track fast, like 100, 200. The 400 was a punishment.
Yeah.
Anything over 200 was a punishment. Grew up with my mom and dad, just put me in different sports and things helped drive my interests. And I just always loved just sports and entertaining too. I never was like a showboat, but I would get flags because one time I got a flag playing a football because I scored and did a Superman. I just love the entertainment aspect of the intersection of sports and like entertainment. And I'm also just a natural entertainer. Like I used to like rap and do music, and I love to be on the stage.
I
Finding
love that.
that mesh,
Yeah.
that mesh between sports and like entertainment is how I'm finding my niche as well.
That's really cool. So tell us how you got started in the running world. I met you at Run Summit recently in
Yeah,
St. Louis with Sneaker Impact,
yeah,
and you were leading the run club there, the run group in the morning for the entire Run Summit. And
yeah,
that's how I met you. You were leading this massive run for the run industry
yeah,
as the ambassador of St. Louis. How did you get started in running?
yeah. That was actually wild how that happened. But relationships are worth more than gold, and I tell that to everyone I meet, students or adults. Like that's so important. Long story short, I started running in the pandemic, like 2021, because I was like in working from home, remote with my kids, and I was finally realizing I was depressed. I probably have suffered from some type of depression for like years, but until I sat down, I started to feel it, and I started to like just I don't know, walk, run. I don't even remember what I was doing, but I know I need to get out the house. And Ahmaud Arbery, when I saw the video of Ahmaud Arbery being killed, that was like the
Mm.
catalyst. That day, I
Yeah, that
bought.
was terrible.
It was terrible, and I remember I cried. I remember I bought an Apple Watch, and I
Yeah.
bought some Asics Gel Nimbus. I think they're like 22s or something. And I went for a jog, run, and I couldn't run half a mile, but that was the catalyst for me to start running. And I was running by myself, and I was running with different run crews in St. Louis, and I had some pretty bad experiences. In fact, some were like I went to run crews and no one spoke to me. I got given handed a route
Wow.
and got lost downtown, like a rich area, had to like GPS back to my car. And it just was a terrible feeling. And I knew I didn't want folks to feel like how I felt. And around the same time, I had went to Detroit. Well, wind a little bit. I went to LA and I went to Detroit before I had a run crew. And I met Butter from Keep It 100 in LA. And then I met Joe and Lance in Detroit. And
Nice. Joe Robinson.
Joe Robinson's my dog.
Yeah, he was on our podcast a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
so that I think that might have been the first place before I met you in person. I do recall seeing something with Joe on yours. Maybe he did something with
Yep, he did some at the Miami Marathon.
so it was just like a mix of a bunch of different things happening once, and ultimately it was like God just. I feel like honestly it was just God just showing me like visions of what could be. And then when I came back to
Yeah.
St. Louis, I had that remember like how I felt that day when I went to a run crew and no one spoke to me and just took off running. I wanted to create a space where no one felt like that, and it was like diverse in terms of not just race, but ability, gender, orientation, just like a space for people to move and connect
Sure.
and health center, but community health as well. So like mental, physical, spiritual, and like community health too is important. So this was like we started Run Crew January 15th of 2023. So we're like a year and a half old. And it's just been blowing up, humbly said, the past few months. And I'm just super grateful. So you heard me say this probably about 4 or 5 times, Bryan. The obstacle is the way. The obstacle is the way is a stoic term. I read a lot of stoicism books, but the obstacle is the way. Like depression and a racial, I feel like driven experience and depression was the obstacle. I could have said, man, forget running. I don't want to run. I don't want to run with any groups, but that obstacle would end up being a way allow me to run and to start STL Run Crew. So.
That's really powerful. Kudos to you for seeing that in other cities and also just wanting to improve the experience of people when they visit your city,
Sure.
which I recently did. And I had a really good impression. And it's important that people have a good impression when they go visit other places.
Indeed.
And they have ambassadors like you, community leaders. Let's talk about the St. Louis running scene and culture. Tell us about that for people who live in different parts of the US.
Yeah, I think what makes me unique is that I didn't know nothing about the run scene in St. Louis. So I wasn't like trying to be or like compete or create something. I literally didn't know. I had just found running, but the experience I did have weren't pleasant. I know that running is a thing here in St. Louis, but even in the sport of distance running, it's driven by white males. And I don't think it was like something that was done on purpose. It's just distance running for me
Mm.
is new. None of my
Mhm.
friends run. I didn't know any black or
Yeah.
brown runners in St. Louis. So I think that's just what it was, right? And it's also a space for everyone to like, there can be different run crews, which I think is helps the sport and helps the community grow.
Tell us more about how you sought out to change that feeling.
Yeah, I just wanted to create a space where everyone was welcome, despite if you're black, white, Spanish speaking, or you're a walker or runner or a marathoner. We have folks on our run crew who are Boston marathoners, and we have folks that literally come and walk half a
Mhm.
mile. That level of diversity, I think, is what makes us unique and welcoming. And also, we're changing the landscape of St. Louis and what it means like to move and connect with one another. So, yeah.
That's cool. So tell people more about St. Louis when you guys go running, because I stayed in the downtown area, like
Yeah.
within half a mile of the arch. I know you took people to the arch. I wasn't able to run with you that day, just so you know, because I was recovering from recent Achilles surgery, but I did run this morning. So I'm back on
Okay.
only my second run. And I started running Sunday again after 3 months off. But tell us about the running, spots in St. Louis where you take people.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm happy you're back running, Brian. I'm glad you're
Thank you.
feeling well and coming back around running. But so we run all over St. Louis, really. I think that's what also makes us unique. We're not just connected with one neighborhood. We run downtown, like the county. Typically on a week, we run on Sunday mornings downtown. We meet at Keenan Plaza and run into the Arch Park, which is actually a national park now. So we run the
Okay.
loop around the Arch and then back. And then on Tuesdays, we run on this street called Cherokee. It's in South St. Louis, a really diverse, like up and coming, a vibrant, artsy area in St. Louis. But we also bounce around to local coffee shops in the area because mainly because we want to also highlight and empower small businesses, but we also have, I would say 60% of our run crew are like transplant. So it's also like a tour of St. Louis. So giving folks new spots they can go eat, hang out, have a coffee. So we killing like three birds with one stone because we definitely travel a lot with our run.
That's great. Show them a tour and don't just stay in one area. I love that. So tell us about the last year and a half, the growth, and what type of events you've been involved with and some of the highlights.
Yeah, started last year, January 2023. We only ran on Sundays for the whole year. This year, we implemented a Tuesday evening, and I think both just create a good harmony. And we just been like just growing exponentially. We
Yeah. How many
partnered.
runners come out? How much have you guys grown? Some
Yeah,
numbers.
no. So when we first started, so the first run, nobody came, right?
Oh,
Then the second
okay.
person came,
Yeah.
then six. So then I'm like, okay, but the first one, I wasn't discouraged because I had a feeling that this was going to be a big thing. Not only that, I didn't care. Nobody came. I ran with my phone, made my content. The creativeness has really empowered me through this because I
Mm.
wasn't doing it. I'm not
Hmm.
doing it to like get a bunch of followers or like make the crew even grow. I wanted to just create the space and I knew that I had to be there for that to happen. So
It's part of the process and the journey
it's
is,
part of the journey. It's a marathon. So over the past few months now on Sundays we're averaging around 100 and on Tuesday we're averaging around like
God.
140. I think we had 150, 160 10
Wow.
weeks
That's
ago.
incredible.
So it's just really, I know there's a
In one
running
year, you get
room.
over 100,
Yeah,
150. That's incredible,
yeah,
Ricky.
yeah.
Wow.
It is. And it's blowing me away. It really is. We ran our big marathon in St. Louis. Last year we had 2 runners. This year we had 24 runners. So that just shows you
Wow.
like our growth. And I didn't really know what was going to transpire. I just knew that I had to just be consistent and I had to show up and do the work. And I think St. Louis is really, really embracing and really tapped into what we're doing. Yeah.
So what's the format of the meetups like? And you're the founder. Do you have people helping you, and how have the roles and the community grown? How does also the run look like?
Yeah.
How many
Great
miles
question.
do you run?
Yeah, great
Yeah,
question. So my number one goal this year was to expand our leadership because I didn't. It was like I felt like because I wanted the show to go on. If I'm not there, like I want the show to go on. So we do have leadership team now. We have captains. We are building out like community engagement, like administration, things like that. So
mhm.
typical run. So on Sundays and Tuesdays, we meet, we stretch. There's a 1 mile route and there's a 2 mile route, but they can be combined to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's at least a mile or two, but it's a loop, so you can do as many miles as you want to. I think last Tuesday some guy did 8 miles, but I really just want to keep it because running and movement is so new in not only our culture, but in our culture in St. Louis. I don't want to scare people away. Like it's not a race.
Yeah.
It's like
It's not a long run
it's not a
necessarily.
long
You're not
run.
trying to.
No, but
Yeah,
we do have a long run on Saturdays, which one of our leaders, Jordan, who's actually from Tampa. That's her
oh,
baby.
cool.
So we do have folks that, like I said, come walk a
Sure.
mile. And we have folks that are like, I'm training for Chicago, she's training for New York. So we have the whole spectrum
But you
of,
want to make it welcoming. And I love, it sounds
yeah,
like you're keeping everyone fairly close together instead of sending them out 10 miles in that direction.
yeah.
You're doing these little loops in the St. Louis Arch Park. And if
Mhm.
you haven't been to St. Louis, that's just an incredible, iconic monument similar to
Yeah,
Washington, D.C. Do you have
yeah.
anything else you want to mention about the Sunday or Tuesday runs?
No, I just love it, man. I could tell I'm a stalker. I could talk about this all day, Brian. But if you're in St.
This is a
Louis,
free group.
come
Yeah, you guys
through.
got
Yes,
jerseys now,
it's
I've seen.
free. We got a little
Free community.
apparel, but it's free. Just sign a waiver. Of course,
Mhm.
we're trying to find ways to sustain and evolve, because
Yeah.
it's one thing when I'm buying water and ice for 10, 20 people, but buying water and ice for 150 people, like that adds
Yeah.
up. We are been connecting with different
I have a feeling you're
community
going to be finding some
organizations.
partners soon.
Yeah, they're around and we're engaged
They're
on
going to find you.
mutual
You're
benefits.
doing great stuff.
Yeah, thanks,
I
bro.
know in Miami, Nike's gotten behind a couple of the clubs. Hoka's behind some. Other brands
Yeah,
get behind some. Even local businesses get behind them.
yeah, for sure. We're a free agent, so you might listen to this. We
Yeah.
got it all in one shebang, so come holler at us.
Let's move into the sneaker impact section, and then we'll get into the fun run section too,
Yeah.
which they're all fun. But I met you in St. Louis,
Yep.
fitting enough,
Yep.
in May of this year,
Hmm.
and you were introduced to us, and it was a bright, bushy-tailed group of runners from all over the U.S. from the running industry at
Yeah.
Run Summit. It's not open to the public. It's like an insider kind of thing, but
Yeah.
it's also really like everyone's really humble and really like low key, but they're all like lifelong runners for the most part.
Yeah.
And you were introduced as the person that's going to lead us throughout the city. So how did that all happen? And just tell us a little bit more about Run Summit, and then I want to chat about Sneaker Impact.
Yeah. So to be fully transparent, until 3 days before, I didn't even know what Run Summit was. Like I said, I'm like a baby. I'm like the little bro in the run community. So I
Well,
met,
it's new to St. Louis, though, as a quick
yeah,
interjection. I was in Chicago last year. It was called
it
Runchella.
travels, and I had
They just
heard
moved
of
it.
it,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that it was such a big thing when Matt from On, like I said, relationships are worth more than gold. We did a event with Matt early this year, and On, it was like dope, and we formed a good relationship. So he was like, "Hey, On's hosting this run." He reached out to me and asked me to lead it, and I'm like, "Hell yeah, of course!" And then I popped up, and it was super early, like 7 or something, like 6 or 7, super early, and it was just dope. I met Matt. He was like, "Ricky, we need your energy in the morning to lead the run," and I came and led the run. Met you, which was dope, and the rest is history.
That's incredible. Yeah, it was just really cool to meet you there. I think you heard through Joe Robinson and other people that you've met. Sneaker Impact's all about sustainability, recycling shoes for the community. We've supported several big marathons in the US, a handful of them, from LA to Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Flying Pig. We're always looking to partner up and help the run community recycle their shoes. And we provide a free option to the public through our bag you can get through the mail, but we're in many running stores, and we're in a bunch of great ones in St. Louis, including Fleet Feet St. Louis, which they were there as well
Yeah.
at Run Summit. And it was just the minute we met you, I was just like, this guy's got great energy. He's exactly what we need in the run community. Ricky, tell us about sustainability. How is that part of your mission of STL Run Crew, and how do you personally live and run system?
So personally, injury prevention is my number one goal with running. I want to be healthy because I need to show up not only for myself but like for the community, and also me. This sneaker impact honestly has completely changed how I view sustainability. And we got the bags. We actually, or I didn't want to tell you, but we're collecting shoes, and we're gonna have a shipment out soon. So it's just like education. Like until I met you and like
Yeah,
you gave me
totally.
the information and we formed a relationship. Before that, I had no idea what to do with an old pair of shoes. So,
Me
so
neither.
I want to
Yeah.
tell you, Brian, what you all are doing, what your Instinct Impact is doing, is literally not only educating me, but it completely gave me a shift of my vision of how we can be more sustainable. So, yeah, we're more sustainable because of Sneaker Impact. How about that?
I love that. Thank you. But it sounds like even just your mindset is about sustainability,
Yeah,
which is that this is a long-term movement and community. And when you come visit us, Ricky, in Miami next time,
can't wait.
there's a lot of great runs down here and races, and it's a great time to visit in the winter.
Yeah, be there soon.
Come down and you'll be our guest, and we'll show you the whole operation here and how a shoe gets recycled. You can also check it out on our Instagram, but they fix the shoes up. If the heel collar is destroyed, I saw a great video yesterday. We're working with local universities too, but fashion experts are teaching Haitian families and other entrepreneurs how to repair a shoe
Wow.
and also how to clean them
Wow.
really well. And they make them look so nice, and then they resell them and it creates value. All right, let's talk favorites with
Okay.
Ricky Hughes. Ricky, favorite running shoe?
Favorite running shoes. Drum roll, boom, right there. Asics Super Blast ones. I ran my first marathon in these. I retired these at 314 miles. They could have easily went to 600. The twos are coming out. Hopefully, should have those soon. But Asics Super Blast ones are my favorite shoe of all time. As I look at my shoe collection, yes, this is my favorite. Yep.
You're a man after my heart because my favorite training shoe is a Nova Blast.
Mm.
And I just ran in it this morning, a brand new pair of fours. And I'd never worn the fours, but I'd worn the 3 twos and ones. I've never worn the Super Blast. I've heard incredible things about it. I'm not partial to any brand, but with my
Yeah.
Achilles being in the condition it is, healing, I need a lot of cushioning. And that's so cool that you and I run in a very similar shoe. So
No,
I love it.
I love the Nova Blast. But what has been getting my heart recently is Mizuno. The Mizuno, I have a couple pair of Mizunos, the Neo Vistas and the Sky 8 that came out like a couple days ago. Like Mizuno is on the kind. I don't have any shoe brand deals, so I can say whatever I want to say, which is a great place to be. Maybe one day I can't be as candid, but for right now, Asics and Mizuno are my top.
Favorite running nutrition?
I use Martin
On the
gels.
run.
I take AG1 in the morning a lot of times. Coffee. I drink a cup of coffee every day. So I don't have. That's probably my last running steps is my nutrition. I'm a pescatarian. I eat very little meat, but I say nutrition wise, oatmeal, water, and Martin are my run aesthetics of choice.
Yeah. Great choices.
Yeah.
Bananas are good too. Mix it in a little bit of ripe banana. But
Yeah.
Martin, yeah, they don't cause any GI discomfort, and that's what you're looking for as a
Yeah.
runner. So
Only
it's
when I've
something that's
tried,
not
and I just stuck with it.
easy fuel sources.
Yeah.
Yep, it's important to fuel up. So favorite running gear
Dang, you know what? Actually, my
in St.
favorite.
Louis.
This right here. Favorite
There
running
you
gear.
go.
STL Run
STL Run
Crew.
Singlet.
My favorite running gear right there. My favorite running gear.
I love it. Yeah, it's just so easy too. The STL Run Crew. I love it.
Yeah,
It's a
and I
family.
like the little logo is real clean and got
Mhm.
the man, the woman, they're running
Yeah.
together.
Let's continue with the favorites, and I have a follow-up
Okay.
question. But favorite food after you run?
Favorite food after I run? Bagel.
Okay, but if you can order anything,
Oh,
like you can get
anything?
the
Oh, snap. Anything? I'm gonna do a pasta. Oh, pasta. Like broccoli.
oh, we're talking. If you want some sushi, we'll bring in some. I'm just,
I'm the least pickiest eater you ever meet, Brian. I literally will eat anything.
peanut butter and bagels. You're happy.
Peanut butter bagel, but I like pasta, I like pizza. Pizza's probably my
Okay.
favorite food. I'm gonna say
Yeah, for
pizza.
hot food or a burger. A few people, that's unacceptable. I mean, whatever. Or
I
you're
do
pescatarian. I'm sorry.
No, I
Yeah,
do
we
it
have
Impossible, vegetarian burger.
Impossible Burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Favorite races you've been to?
New York Marathon, by far. Changed my life. I cried. I met so many people. New York Marathon last year changed my life. I became Ricky from St. Louis in New York. This year I'm running Chicago. Maybe you got to ask me after that, but I also plan on going to New York because our captain Jordan Stone is running New York Marathon this year. I'll be in Chicago and New York this year.
Those are amazing. I did Chicago last October, my sixth Chicago. So it's a beautiful course. It's also one of the best courses for new runners. They actually rated it the best course in the US because of the support.
Wow.
And it's also flat.
My favorite race that I've ran though is Detroit Free Press. That's my favorite.
Okay.
My first half
Tell
marathon.
us a little bit about that.
I ran international. I ran across Canada. This was before we had a run crew. I was just runner. I met Joe, man, and Lance. They gave me so much insight and like wisdom before we even had a run crew. I really saw it's more than running. It's about the community, how people come together. So my experience in Detroit, October of, I guess it was 2022, that really was a huge catalyst in my running journey. I ran my very first half marathon. I saw what a run crew was in terms of running and after the running aspect, like the community aspect. So Detroit Free Press is my favorite race that I've raced in.
That's saying a lot considering the New York City Marathon. I did that in 2010. That's something that everyone should do in their life. And that's incredible. Favorite thing to do in St. Louis?
I spend time with my family. my kids, my wife. We go to the
That's a great
park, go
answer.
to the zoo. We go on trail hikes. We do it all. My favorite time is spending time with my family. We just do it all. So
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids. I have 3 kids, boy, girl.
Two girls and a boy? That's
Yeah, two
incredible.
girls and a
What are
boy.
their ages?
17, 8, and 6. So the whole spectrum.
Wow. So the
Yeah.
17-year-old is probably getting ready to, is he, that's a
He's
boy?
actually going to
Is it?
college. He's actually where he's going
Yeah.
Saturday. He's going to SIUE, it's a school in Southern Illinois. He's packing up. He'll be going
What
heading
does
to
he think about running?
um,
Does he find it interesting or?
I'm just getting into running. So we're both late to the game, but he played baseball for a long time, got burnt out. Then he started playing volleyball. He was really good at volleyball, and he actually ran his first 5K 2 months ago. And he hadn't run more than like a mile, and he just hopped in the 5K and ran the 5K. It blew my mind. I hope that he continues to run, not only like competitively, but use it as like a resource to adjust to life for his mind and his body and his soul.
That's a great segue. We're getting into the closing thoughts section. Tell us more about your mentality and the stoicism you mentioned before. What is your thoughts on what the future holds and the meaning of hope and love in the world?
That's a good question, Brian. I think my overall just vision and like how I treat life is just control what you can control. Oftentimes, what I want, what I think should happen, my emotions can get in the way of just being open to what is meant to be and what is happening. And the obstacle is the way. Sometimes if bad things happen, you're so focused on that bad thing, you're not seeing how that is the way to something greater. But like everything, just like how I treat my body, how I treat my mind, how we treat each other. But a huge stoic principle is the thought of only controlling what we can control. And things that we can't control, we shouldn't spend any time on. And there's also very few things that we can control. But one thing we
Mm,
can control is how
mhm,
we react to things. And
mhm.
controlling if something bad happens, am I going to get mad, upset? Or I'm like, okay, it happened. What next? So controlling how I react has really helped me like be sustainable as a human being and not just go with the ebb and flows of the ups and downs of life and try to just stay present and in the moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that is reflected, I'm sure, in the STL Run Crew, in the energy and in the organization itself. Have you noticed that mentality being spread in the community, and how has also the organization affected you?
Yeah, I think how we were birthed through an obstacle of lack of diversity in terms of not only just like I said race but like ability, where it's not about speed, it's not
Mm,
about how fast you can go, it's not about training for a marathon. We were birthed out of a obstacle or like a needed space, and I think that is who we are in our essence. Like we want everyone to feel comfortable, everyone to come and move and become healthier people. There's tons of like health disparities in my community specifically, but also just in America, like how we eat, how we
yeah.
move, what we do. The pandemic really showed us that we need each other and we need to move. And I think the pandemic, yes, it was terrible, and for some people, it was worse than worse. But it can also be an obstacle as the way. Like if it wasn't for the
Yeah.
pandemic, I wouldn't known I was depressed as much. I wouldn't have started running. Other people wouldn't have been in in homes for months and years and saying, "Oh, now I got to get
Mhm.
out my house and get with community." So the obstacle is the way is the essence of
That's really cool.
who and what the Run Crew is too. So
I've always thought stoicism is very beautiful, and whether or
yeah,
not you subscribe to it, I think there's so much beauty in it, the simplicity and the releasing
yeah,
control and surrendering
yeah,
and just not reacting as much,
yeah.
trying to be more calm about things.
Yeah,
I
that's
think it's
it.
a very zenful,
Yeah.
cool thing to be a part of. So thank you for representing that. How do people get involved with the STL Run Crew? Can you share links and how they can learn more?
Yeah. STLRunCrew.com, STL Run Crew on IG, STL Run Crew on Facebook. We have all in our bio, we have all our weekly runs, but I would say Instagram is probably the main mode of communication for us, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, we'll share all those in the description. And yeah, we're excited to see the future with, as you guys have had a tremendous last year. It just
Yeah.
shows how much when you're moving in the right direction and doing the right thing in the community, it really resonates with many people, and you've created a welcoming space. So any future goals you want to share, any closing thoughts about STL Run Crew?
I just want us to continue to impact St. Louis in a positive way, get folks up and moving, like whether that's running your first 5K or walking your first mile. I wanted to continue to impact community in St. Louis in a major way. So yeah.
That's awesome. It's a
And
great
thank you,
goal.
Bryan, for empowering me, empowering us, getting sustainability on our radar and giving me a space to chat about something I love so dearly. So I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Ricky. It's been really fun hanging out with you today, and just shows how also persistence is important in life, because it took a little while for us to connect, but we both had the
Yeah.
best intentions. And then your
Yeah.
message has just come through so beautifully today, loud and clear. And it's a breath of fresh air. We love to see stories like this in the community. And as a podcast host and a running insider, when I was at Run St. Louis and I saw you, I really wanted to have you on the podcast. So it says
Yeah.
something about
Thank
your
you,
leadership
Bryan.
skills too.
Even today, we've had technical difficulties, but look, the
Yeah.
obstacle was the way. Our story is going
Yeah.
to be
We
so.
both are patient. Yeah, we
Yes.
didn't mention it, but there was probably about 8 interruptions where something happened in the software, but
Yeah.
we weren't going to give up.
No, the
Awesome,
obstacle is the
Ricky.
way, man.
I love that message.
It's
So
actually
great.
it's a book. The Obstacle is the Way by
Yeah.
Ryan Holiday, where he gives historical stories of from Eisenhower to like Martin Luther King of like how an obstacle was the way for so many great American and international leaders.
Sure. Creates an opportunity, right? So the obstacle is the way.
Yeah, the obstacle is the way.
Very Jedi, also cool in that sense. Ricky, you're an open invite to visit us here at Sneaker Impact in Miami. I'm sure we're going to see you on the future at all the awesome run stuff around the country. Guys, check out STL Run Crew on Instagram. Ricky, you have a personal Instagram you want to share?
Ricky from
That's right, Ricky from St. Louis.
From St. Louis. Ain't hard to forget. All right. You think of St. Louis, think of Ricky, think of St. Louis. There we go.
All right, Ricky. Thanks for joining us on Sneaker Impact News today, and we'll have you on again in the future.
All right,
Best
brother.
wishes on.
Thank you, Bryan. Can't
Have a
wait.
good day.
Can't wait.